Today we're going to be talking about the best solo experiences that you can have in virtual reality as of right now, and honestly this is a very heavy subject because there is a ton of awesome games that you can actually get into and experience inside of VR as of right now. I mean, honestly, the single player experiences far outweigh anything else that we have in VR, and of course if you do enjoy this video, please do consider smashing that like button to show your support, and of course if you're new to the channel, subscribe, as you could help us hit that 100k one day, and that would be bloody lovely. Other than that though, let's dive into our very first game on this list. Let's start off with the Dark Knight himself. Batman Arkham Shadow VR puts you straight into Gotham City for a true single player superhero experience. You'll be gliding, grappling and using all of the other bat gadgets that you'd expect to be able to see inside of a game like this, except for this time round in the Arkham series you'll actually be in there playing it for yourself. This one is really cool. I actually highly rate this game. I do wish you spent more time in Arkham itself opposed to sort of like Arkham, Penitentiary, but nonetheless this game is still an absolute freaking banger. If you're a fan of Batman or of the Arkham series of games, this is an absolute no-brainer to get into and experience for yourself. This is one of the newer titles on the list of Lies and Rain. This one hopefully will not fly under the radar. I really want a lot of people to experience this as I think it's a top-notch experience. If you're looking for something that's really artistic, got a touch of emotional side to it, and of course has a ton of action, then Of Lies of Rain is really going to be for you. This is got that fast-paced action, but it's also got a really good storytelling atmosphere and everything else that should be in a game like this that really takes it up from just another shooter to something that's just a little bit more elevated and just a very solid experience. This is bloody gorgeous on no matter what system you play it on, including the Quest, making it one of those games that I just really recommend to everyone to at least try. Definitely give this one a go. Next up we have one of the biggest RPGs in VR full stop. Asgards Wrath 2 is a massive game with dozens of hours to be able to play, including all of the side missions. You are looking at a well over 80 to 120 hour game. It's pretty insane just how much can actually be done inside of this. You're going to be doing a mix of hack and slash combat with puzzle solving and progression, unlocking a bunch of new stuff that's going to keep you keyed in and locked into this game as you go through its awesome open world. Think about Skyrim meets sort of like mythical Greek mythology, and you're pretty much going to be there with most of this. It's just such an incredible game and probably the closest we've got in VR to discovering something of like an epic single player exploring sort of journey. Next up we have a newer title, and this one is surprisingly fun. Crave is about tight atmospheric exploration. It's claustrophobic, it's incredibly insane in all the right ways, and it's just such an intense and eerie game that gives you that thrill of being lost underground to start with and surviving that type of experience that, well, hopefully most of us will never have to experience unless you're crazy enough to be into caving, and fair play if you are, but for people like me this gives you that experience without having to risk your life. This one just handles the entire situation so well, absolutely selling the experience to you as you go through it, as well as some other little fun game modes that you've got inside of it, but the core game itself to me is just an absolute no-brainer and one to really feel like that intensity and of course that immersion value in the game. And then we have an absolute no-brainer of a recommendation, and that is of course the reimagined for VR Resident Evil 4. This is probably one of the best ways to play this legendary game right now, outside of, well, if you have a PSVR 2, because then you can play it in super high-end graphics, but if you own a Quest, this is definitely one of the best titles that you can be playing on it. It's tense, it's scary, it's VR immersion, it just takes you to every level that you want to be inside of a VR headset, and then of course on top of that you have all of this added bonus to playing and reliving this just, well, childhood classic for me, of reloading for yourself, aiming and creeping around all these dark corners in first person. It just really elevates the entire experience and makes it feel like an entirely different game. So like I say, unless you have PSVR 2, this is definitely one of the best ways to play Resident Evil 4. Next up we have Arizona Sunshine 1 and 2. Now both of these games are absolutely flawless experiences to be played in VR. Personally I really edge towards number 2 being my absolute favourite, just because you have that buddy companion, the dog. It's really an awesome experience. If you want to get into something where it is a true good zombie slasher, very over the top, kind of comedic while being also tense and serious at times, this is definitely a no-brainer for me to recommend to you. It doesn't matter whether you go for 1 or 2, quite honestly you can jump into any one of these and you're still going to have an incredible time, but I wanted to put both on a list because, well, they're a twosome, they're a duo at the end of the day, and there's a few other duo games that are coming up later on this list. Next up we have Into the Radius. It's VR's most immersive survival game, full stop. I absolutely love this, and it may even be one of my absolute favourite games I've ever played in VR personally. It's very Stalker-esque, but this game just sells the experience perfectly in my opinion. I have been absolutely addicted to Into the Radius 2 for, well, probably about 3 months now, where every bit of spare time I get, I do dive back into that game and continue to experience the world around me in just the most insane way possible. In this, you're going to be scavenging, looting, repairing weapons, and trying to survive these creepy, mysterious zones. The second game itself is also building more on that, just making more of the mechanics feel even better, cleaner, making this one of those just incredible solo VR experiences that I just love to survive in. I love the tension inside of it, and it's just a great game. Get them in your life. Next up we have Bone Lab. Now this one might not be the best story that's ever existed inside of a game, but my god, the mechanics and physics behind this game just make it so much fun. The campaign itself is a little bit experimental, like I say, but what really shines about this game is really the sandbox mode that comes after this. But I still do stand by the fact that the single player experience stands out enough to make it worthwhile putting on this list, while basically anything else really, it's all about the modding and the sandbox style of stuff. You've probably seen a million clips of this online. If you haven't played this for yourself, well, it's time to maybe jump into it and sink those hours into the story campaign to begin with, and then of course just the endless fun that comes with everything else after. Next up we have The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Oh my god, these games are amazing. If you're a big fan of the Walking Dead universe, well, this is going to allow you to step right inside of it. Now, you're not going to meet any of the characters that you've ever seen on the TV shows. This isn't about that. This is about simply stepping into the Walking Dead universe and seeing whether you're going to survive and what kind of decisions you're going to make along the way. This is such an insane survival horror game where you're going to be crafting, scavenging, brutal melee combat, and all of that is just set in that Chapter 1. If you want to get into Chapter 2, well, it expands on it even further with even more story, weapons, and environments. If you like that sort of tense survival gameplay where every bullet matters, then this game is among the best single player experiences that VR has to offer. There's a good reason why this is on the top of most of these lists, and that's just simply because it's an absolute banger. This one actually surprised a lot of people, both love and hate wise, but Assassin's Creed Nexus VR actually feels like a really good Assassin's Creed game, and it's brought into VR as well. You get to experience a bunch of different characters across the Assassin's Creed universe, and then on top of that you have this incredible parkour, stealth, rooftops chase, and this full assassination mode that you're going to be going into. Does it even have the best interactions when it comes to combat? Not particularly, but what it does do well is gel all of these things together, making it a very cinematic and pretty ambitious project, and a bit of a dream come true for anyone like me who's a big Assassins fan. So this one I always really enjoy going back into every now and then, and still, like I say, they did do an incredible job of bringing this into it. If I could change a few things, I definitely would, as I feel like this game was probably developed with the mindset of a newer player over an experienced VR user, but nonetheless it's still an incredible game that's worth putting up there with a ton of hourage to jump into and just waste time in the best way possible. Next up we have Iron Man VR. Now, I bloody loved this game when it came out on the PS1 back in the day, and now it finally made its way onto the Quest as well. This one is still an easy recommend from me. You're going to be strapping on that Iron Man suit, but in VR, and that's exactly what makes this cool, and it's definitely as cool as it sounds. You're going to be using all those flying mechanics, which feel bloody fantastic, and on top of that, the combat blasting drones and enemies out of the sky while zipping around at high speed. It just feels incredible. It's not the longest campaign, but it's one of the more immersive sort of superhero fantasy games that we currently have that you can play solo in virtual reality. Now, I will say this definitely has a little touch of the arcadey feel to it at times, but still, the opening scene to this game is probably still up there and one of the coolest things I've experienced in VR, and suiting up like Iron Man while flying through the sky, whoo-wee, is something to behold. Now, I wanted to highlight a few games that are coming soon as well. These are really the games that you need to be watching out for, because there's a ton of awesome solo games still to come this year, and well, the easy one to recommend from the top of that list is Marvel's Deadpool VR. Now, I have actually had the chance to play this myself, and this really does put you into that sort of Deadpool world. I love the art style to this game. It's very comic book-esque, but on top of that, they've just done a really good job of making this feel like you are Deadpool and you can do everything that Deadpool can do, from having having your limbs cut off and regrowing them, all the way through to meeting some insane characters along the way. I can't spoil too much about what I know about this, but like I said, after having actually tried it for myself a couple of times now, the combat is chaotic, it's plenty of humour if you like that sort of Deadpool humour. This is just going to be an easy one to recommend already, but of course we'll go further into that once it actually comes out. Next up is Arken Age. This is one that's going to be coming out very soon actually, and it's been an incredibly well received game when it came to its PC release and its PSVR 2 release. This is a blend of immersion and storytelling and world building in its unique art style, and one of those ones that you just need to keep an eye out on, because I know that me personally, I put a ton of time into this when it very first came out, and I know a lot of other people did too. It's a real banger that's coming to the Quest, so definitely get this one on your wish list. Next up is Rhys. Rhys is aiming to deliver this sort of cinematic, atmospheric VR experience, where there are still a lot more details to come on this, and I have had the chance to try this for myself, so keep an eye out on the channel, because as I said the other week, I will have some stuff coming up for this very, very soon where I get to go hands-on with the game. So keep your eye on the channel, and definitely get this one on your wish list, as it's looking to deliver everything that you're expecting from it. And last but not least, we have Thief VR Legacy of Shadow. Again, I've actually had the chance to go hands-on with this game. Can't say much right now, but just again, keep an eye on the channel because I will be able to speak about this very, very soon. This is a game that has always begged to be in VR in my mind, as its sort of stealthiness and the way that you're doing everything inside of this game just truly lends itself to the immersive nature of VR. So this one for me is an absolute no-brainer for them to actually get hold of the IP and bring it to VR. Also, we got some great studios behind this as well. If this really captures the essence of the original series in the way that I expect it to, then I think this is going to be an absolute freaking banger. Just sneaking through the shadows, picking locks, and pulling off silent heists. Man, this hopefully will be an absolute banger. Thank you so much for joining me across this video. It's been a ton of fun to put this together. Honestly, I bloody love putting all these list videos together because it reminds me that I need to also jump back into some of these games and re-experiencing them again because, well, especially when we're in dry periods. I mean, we've been in a bit of a drier spell across sort of 2025, and for me personally, it's given me an opportunity to jump back into a bunch of single player games and just re-experience them and have a lot of fun doing it as well. Sometimes it's very easy to forget that we have so many friggin' awesome games out there, and some of which maybe you weren't even around playing VR for when those games came out, so you just might not be aware that they even exist. So hopefully this has helped you today find something at least that you can jump into and re-experience, or something in a really good way where you've never played it before and you get to play it for the first time. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you care about after this list and what you'll be jumping into and experiencing. Other than that, a massive thank you for watching this video. Hey, I appreciate you, each and every one of you. So take care, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out, bye.